Prime Minister said the Five Eyes intelligence network, the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and New Zealand would help investigate the deadly terrorist shooting which left at least 15 victims dead. Australia's National Security Agency, ASIO, investigated one of the alleged Bondi shooters in 2019 over potential extremist links, but decided he was not a person of interest. Anthony Albanese has revealed, despite two of the man's associates being jailed. As the spotlight turns to how the father and son did not come to the attention of authorities, Albanese said the investigation would include whether the pair had been radicalized by an extremist ideology. Thousands gathered at vigils around Australia on Monday evening to commemorate the 15 people killed in a terror attack at Sydney's Bondi Beach, as National Cabinet agreed to tighten gun laws in the wake of the mass shooting. 25 people remained in hospital on Tuesday morning, among them Ahmed Al-Ahmed, who tackled and wrestled a gun from one of the alleged gunmen and has been hailed as a national hero. A GoFundMe page set up to support his family has already raised more than $1.03. The channels reported on Monday that Naveed Akram, the younger man, had been investigated by domestic intelligence agency ASIO over possible links to an Islamic State terror cell in Sydney. Albanese said on Monday that he came to the attention of authorities in 2019 on the basis of being associated with others, but did not specifically confirm the Islamic State connection. Federal government sources also declined to comment on this issue. On Tuesday morning, speaking on the channels, Albanese expanded further on ASIO's 2019 investigation. The advice that we've received, though, is that ASIO investigated him, found that he wasn't subject to ongoing monitoring. They interviewed him, they interviewed his family members, they interviewed people around him, he said. He was drawn to their attention because of his association with others. Two of the people he was associated with were charged and went to jail, but he was not seen at that time to be a person of interest. Whether he was radicalized further after that, what the circumstances are, that's the subject of further investigation. Albanese did not specifically draw links between Akram and IS, but in a later part of the FJ interview in response to a separate question, he said, "Antisemitism, of course, has been around for a very long period of time. Islamic State is an ideology that tragically over the last decade, particularly since 2015, has led to a radicalization of some people to this extreme position, and it is a hateful action." But he said, clearly they were motivated by this extremist ideology, and further detail, of course, will be released when the police go through their work. The Prime Minister said he was absolutely ready for the fight to pursue major reform on gun laws, as proposed at National Cabinet on Monday. One of the alleged gunmen, 24-year-old Naveed Akram, remains in hospital. The New South Wales Police Commissioner, Mal Lanyon, said he expected to bring charges against Akram in the coming days. The other alleged gunman, Naveed's father Sajid Akram, was shot dead by police at the scene. More than 1,000 people gathered at the Bondi Pavilion to mark 24 hours since Sunday's deadly attack. Rabbi Yossi Shuchet lit the candles of a 5-foot-high menorah, telling those gathered, "Lightness will always persevere, darkness cannot continue where there is light." Among the crowd were the NSW Premier, Chris Minns, and opposition leader Kelly Sloan. Hundreds also attended a prayer vigil at the Chabad of Bondi Synagogue, the place of worship for many of those caught up in Sunday's attack, and where one of those killed, Eli Schlanger, was assistant rabbi. In the Melbourne suburb of Caulfield, the heart of the largest Jewish community in Australia, more than 2,000 people, including the Deputy Premier, Richard Marles, Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen, and State Opposition Leader, Jess Wilson, gathered at the Caulfield Shul. Rabbi Effie Block from the Chabad of St Kilda said his congregation were reeling from broken hearts, deep shock, and profound pain. A multicultural celebration of Chanukah in Melbourne's Federation Square for the Pillars of Light Festival also went ahead. Addressing the crowd, Rabbi Gabby Kaltman thanked everyone for showing up and being here in solidarity. "We gather not in fear but in strength," he said. "We will light up our hearts and shine away this darkness by lighting the menorah." A crowd also gathered outside the Australian High Commission in London for a vigil on Sunday evening, and vigils were held in Israel. The men are believed to have used legally obtained firearms to commit the massacre. Sajid Akram, who was a member of a gun club, had 6 weapons registered to him, which have all been recovered, police said. 4 of these weapons, thought to include a rifle and shotgun, were seized at the scene in Bondi, with other weapons also found during a police raid at the house in Campsie. Naveed was an Australian-born citizen. His father had arrived in the country on a student visa in 1998, transferred in 2001 to a partner visa, and had since been on resident return visas. Restricting the number of firearms a single person can own and only issuing gun licenses to Australian citizens are among the changes to gun laws being considered in the wake of the attack. Anti-Semitic incidents, including assaults, vandalism, threats, and intimidation, surged more than threefold in the country during the year after Hamas attacked Israel on 7 October 2023, and Israel launched a war on Hamas in Gaza in response. The government's special envoy to combat anti-Semitism, Gillian Segal, reported in July. Last year, there were anti-Semitic attacks in Sydney and Melbourne. Synagogues and cars have been torched, businesses and homes vandalized with graffiti, and Jews attacked in cities where 85% of the nation's Jewish population lives. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, said he warned Australia's leaders months ago about the dangers of failing to take action against anti-Semitism. He claimed Australia's recent decision to recognize a Palestinian state pours fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. At a press briefing, Albanese rejected the accusations and listed actions his government had taken, including criminalizing hate speech and incitement to violence, and a ban on the Nazi salute. Funding for physical security for Jewish community groups would also be extended, he said. Segal, who was appointed by the Australian government last year to tackle a spate of graffiti and arson attacks on synagogues and Jewish businesses, said Sunday's terrorist attack did not come without warning. The writing has been on the wall, Segal said in a radio interview with the Australian Broadcasting Corporation on Monday. Jewish community leaders echoed the call for more action. There has been a shocking level of anti-Semitism that has been rearing its head in this country as it has in other countries. When anti-Semitism goes unchecked from the top, these are the things that happen, said Levi Wolf, the lead rabbi at Sydney Central Synagogue.